You are not hungry. You just think you are. There's a difference, and understanding that difference might be the most useful thing you learn today. Because right now, somewhere in your body, there is a system, a full biological protocol, designed to repair, rebuild, and optimize you from the inside out. A system that most people never activate. Not because it's difficult to turn on, but because they eat again before it gets the chance. The moment you put down your fork, a clock starts. Most people stop that clock somewhere around hour 3, maybe hour 6 if they're busy. And then they eat again, and the clock resets, and the system never runs. Not once. Day after day, year after year, the most powerful internal repair mechanism your body possesses sits idle. Not broken, just waiting. Today, we're walking through what actually happens, hour by hour, when you let that clock run. Not theoretically, physiologically. Inside the cells, inside the hormones, inside the machinery that has kept humans alive for 200,000 years. By the end of this, hunger will never feel the same to you again. The clock starts the moment your last meal ends. Hours 0 to 4, and your body is still busy. Your stomach is churning. Your small intestine is pulling nutrients out of whatever you just ate, breaking proteins into amino acids, converting carbohydrates into glucose, sending it all into the bloodstream. Your pancreas responds immediately. It releases insulin. And this is where the whole story begins. Think of insulin as a gatekeeper standing at the door of every fat cell you have. When insulin is circulating, when it's high, that door is locked, bolted shut. Energy flows in from the bloodstream, and your cells use it. If there's excess, which in modern eating there almost always is, insulin takes the leftover glucose and packs it into the liver and muscles as glycogen. Think of glycogen as your wallet. Your accessible, easy cash. Limited storage, maybe enough for a day. But while insulin is high, your body will not touch stored fat. It is biologically impossible. The vault is locked, and insulin has the only key. So in these first 4 hours, you feel fine, comfortable. But nothing unusual is happening. You are simply running on what you just consumed. Hours 4 to 12 is where most people quit without realizing what they're giving up. Around hour 6 or 8, your blood sugar starts to normalize. The flood of incoming energy from your meal is gone. Insulin begins to drop. And your brain sends a signal, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, spikes. Your stomach rumbles. You feel that familiar restlessness, maybe a little irritable, a little unfocused. And almost everyone at this point interprets that signal as an emergency, as starvation, as something that must be stopped. But here's what's actually happening. Your liver has noticed that no new food is arriving, so it opens the wallet. It starts breaking down glycogen, stored glucose, to keep your blood sugar stable. Your brain is still fed. Your muscles are still fueled. You aren't losing anything. You are simply using what your body already saved. The hunger you feel at hour 8 is not your body eating itself. It's your body switching fuel sources. And that switch feels uncomfortable because your metabolism hasn't had to make it in a very long time. You've been feeding it before it ever had to try. Push through. Because hour 12 is where the story changes. By hour 12, glycogen stores are critically low. The wallet is almost empty. And now your body faces a decision. It can shut down or it can unlock the vault. And since you are a biological machine engineered over hundreds of thousands of years specifically to survive gaps between meals, it unlocks the vault. Insulin drops to its lowest baseline level. And with insulin out of the way, an enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase activates. This enzyme is the key that the gatekeeper has been hiding. Fat cells that have been sealed shut for days, maybe weeks, finally open. Fatty acids flood into the bloodstream. Your liver begins converting them into ketones. And for the first time in a very long time, your body is no longer running on food. It is running on you. Hours 14 to 16, and the entire feeling of the fast shifts. The hunger that felt so urgent around hour 8 quietly fades. And this is the part I keep coming back to because it surprises almost everyone who goes through it. When your fuel comes from food, your energy is a roller coaster, spiking and crashing with every meal. When your fuel comes from body fat, Your energy is a flat line, steady, reliable, because even the leanest person carries tens of thousands of calories in fat storage. That is not a crisis, that is a battery. And as those fatty acids are converted to ketones, your brain, which cannot burn fat directly, gets something it actually prefers. Ketones are a cleaner fuel than glucose. They produce more energy per molecule with less oxidative waste, less metabolic smoke. And around hour 16 you start to feel it. The fog lifts, focus sharpens. There's a kind of quiet electricity in the thinking, a clarity that feels unfamiliar if you've spent your whole life running on glucose. This makes complete evolutionary sense. A hungry human who became slow and foggy couldn't hunt, couldn't problem solve, didn't survive. Hunger was always supposed to make us sharper. We just forgot because we stopped being hungry long enough to find out. Then comes hour 18, and this is the part most people have never reached. And the reason that matters is enormous. Your cells have been running the machinery hard for 18 hours now with no new building materials arriving. The manager looks around and makes a decision. If we can't get new supplies, we'll use what we already have. And what we already have is junk, broken mitochondria, the little energy factories inside each cell, that have stopped working efficiently. Misfolded proteins, the kind that accumulate over years and have been linked to neurodegenerative diseases. Damaged cellular components that are essentially taking up space. Your body builds a membrane around this debris, dissolves it, and recycles it into pristine raw material. New amino acids, new cellular components, repurposed from your own internal waste. This process is called autophagy. It literally means self-eating. And it is the closest thing to a genuine biological reset that science has documented. It is the reason researchers began taking fasting seriously at a level that eventually led to a Nobel Prize in 2016. When you eat constantly, autophagy never activates. The cleaning crew never clocks in. The debris accumulates. Over years, over decades. And the diseases that accumulate with it are not random. They are, at least partly, the cost of a body that was never given the quiet it needed to clean house. By hour 20, the most common fear begins to surface. If the body is breaking things down, isn't it breaking down muscle? This is the myth that stops more people than almost anything else. And it is physiologically backwards. At hour 20, in response to the metabolic stress of extended fasting, your pituitary gland releases a surge of human growth hormone. Studies have measured this surge at between 1,300 and 2,000% above baseline. And human growth hormone is, among other things, a muscle-sparing signal. It tells every system in your body, burn the fat, protect the muscle. We need the lean tissue. We might still need to run. Your body is not going to burn furniture to heat the house when there is a shed full of firewood right outside. The fat is the firewood. And the combination of low insulin and high HGH, the state your body reaches around hour 20, is a hormonal environment that is almost impossible to create any other way. It is the exact environment in which you preserve lean tissue while stripping stored fat. Not as a side effect. As a design feature, hour 23, the window approaches, and your body is in a state it almost never reaches in modern life. Insulin is at the floor. Growth hormone is peaking. Cells have completed an autophagy cycle. Your gut has had nearly a full day of rest. The inflammation that quietly runs through most digestive systems has had time to settle. Your cells, and this image matters, are like a dry sponge, completely ready to absorb. What you eat now matters twice as much as it would at any other time. Not as punishment, as biology. A system this primed, this receptive, responds to what it receives with unusual intensity. Start with protein, high-quality, dense protein. Your body is rebuilding. It needs amino acids. Then add healthy fats, because your metabolic machinery is already running on fat, and fat keeps insulin moderate, keeps the machinery smooth. Then volume. Vegetables, leafy greens, fermented foods. Because you only have one meal and you cannot get magnesium and potassium from snacks, you aren't eating. And be honest with yourself about the first week. It will not feel like this. The first week, the headaches are real. The fatigue is real. Because when insulin drops, your kidneys release water and sodium, and you lose electrolytes faster than you expect. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. A pinch of sea salt in your water during the fast. That's usually all it takes. Don't rush the adaptation. Push your first meal back by 2 hours, then 4, then 6. Ease the transition. Give your metabolism time to build the enzymatic machinery it needs to do this well. Because hunger was never the enemy. It was always a signal. A rhythm. The rhythm that modern eating, designed around convenience and craving and constant availability, has buried so completely that most people have never heard their own body make it. You aren't starving when you fast. You are, for the first time in perhaps years, finally letting your body do what it was built to do. Clean, rebuild, optimize, protect, and wait intelligently for the moment you choose to feed it again.